Welcome to Legal and Wealthy, the podcast for lawyers who are ready to stop playing small and start building true wealth and a career and life of their dreams, powerfully and purposefully. Whether you're a law student, new associate, or seasoned attorney, this show is for those who are ready to take charge of their law career in a new way. I'm your host, Lauren Klein, attorney, law firm owner, professor, and founder of Legal and Wealthy. Here, we don't just practice law, we practice liberation and becoming wealthy attorneys. Because being a great lawyer shouldn't come at the cost of your time, your peace, or your financial freedom. Every week, you'll get the strategy, mindset, and wealth building guidance that law school never gave you. So you can go from just surviving your career to building a legacy through it. Let's get to work. Welcome back to Legal and Wealthy. I'm Lauren Klein, estate planning attorney, wealth coach for lawyers, and someone who really needs to get more brand photos with my friend, Michelle Citrin. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'd be honored to photograph you. You'd be next.
Oh, yes. I am so excited. It is time. So when we met, and I think we had originally kind of like heard about each other through other people, but the first time I met you, like the very first conversation that we had at that event for St. Thomas, I was like, oh my goodness, or I think it was the Broward Bar.
Yeah.
I need to have you on the show. I need to get you into the Legal and Wealthy community because I mean, number one, you're kind of like a celebrity. Like literally everyone I know is doing photos with you. So you're doing something right. But just even in our conversation, the way that you approach branding and confidence and money, I was just like, oh yes, I need to have you on the show. So I'm so happy you're here. I'll give a little bio for everyone who doesn't already know you, and then we'll just dive in. So my friend Michelle Citrin is a personal branding and headshot photographer with over 16 years of experience. Is that
17 now.
17?
Yeah.
Wow. So you started when you were 12. Okay, perfect. And you specialize in luxury photography for women in law and business. You've been featured in Forbes, Ocean Drive Magazine, NBC6. You are originally from Florida, our neck of the woods, but we were just chatting before recording. You've moved to a much more family-friendly area, and I might be following you. But you've really built your entire career, I feel, from my perspective, around one powerful belief that image is not vanity, it's a business tool. And from the way that I look at it, and I think the way you look at it, a wealth tool. So glad you're here. I'd love to hear a little bit about your story. How did you get into photography? I don't know I think I told you this. I grew up in a home where my dad was a photographer.
Yes.
The studio was in our house. And so I've always loved photography. How did you get into this world, and how did that kind of lead you to working with women lawyers specifically?
Yes, I love that. And you did just tell me that. And I didn't know that when we first met. So that was new information for me also. So let's see. It's a long story because it's been pretty much my life's work as an artist. I was always a kid. Oh, I don't know if you could hear that. I was always a kid that loved art and never got into sports. So I started my career as an artist in fashion design and fashion photography. And I graduated from SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, with a concentration in fashion photography. I graduated in 2009, the height of the recession, that I had friends graduating in all walks of life and no one could get jobs, and they were firing National Geographic. That was the year they fired all their staff photographers. And I said, oh my
That's
God,
the same year I graduated as well.
I know we talked about that.
In finance.
I had a friend graduate law school that year too, and she couldn't even get a job because she was too young. She was too young, couldn't get, the entry level position at any law firms. Like, so it was a thing. Artists, I think lawyers and people in medicine, still nobody was hiring. So everyone was firing. It was 2009. And I said, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I said, you know what, I'll just start my own business, because I said, I can live at home with my parents. Like, now's the time to do that. So 2009, I started my own photography studio in Wynwood, which was back then was not what it is now. And I did everything. If the phone rang, And they said, can you photograph a wedding? Can you photograph a newborn? Can you do a large advertising campaign? Yes, 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 I can do it all. And quickly learned that no, you can't do it all. You can't be a master of your craft and sought out for. And, I felt like every day I felt like I was a beginner or I didn't know what I was doing, because when you're working with different genres, you really do need to become a master of that genre so that you can produce the highest quality product, but then also that the client and the customer and their needs. And newborns are nothing like a wedding. So every day I was doing a different job, and I quickly, within a couple of years of the business, and we were making ends meet, and I was paying the studio rent and things were going fine, but I just felt like I was scrambling. And so a couple of years into the business, I said, I need to niche down and I need to become known for something and do what I want to do. And that turned into women in business. And it was really because the phone rang every day for headshots. And this was back in 2012 ish. And then through that, then I decided to niche down harder. And I had a lot of women attorneys. The majority of my clients were female attorneys. And I love working with women. So I really wanted women in business because also it was something I could sell. Like when you're talking about high price points for art, I was like, I have to be able to back this and to be able to sell it and sell it with confidence. And I was like, if I'm making art and using my expertise for something, I want it to help women make more money. So I easily could say, no, there is ROI in this work versus, newborns or weddings where you might get divorced in a couple years, but that's another story for another time. But with, headshot, which back then we called it headshot photography, it's really branding, personal branding photography. You can brand yourself and attract higher quality clients and get more opportunities and make more money. And it's really a part of your business strategy. So that's kind of how it happens in a nutshell.
And now you guys all can see why I was like, you have to be on the show, because I've never really heard anyone in the world of branding. And it is fascinating because 2012 was when I started practicing law. And I feel like the perspective on branding as attorneys from then to now, it's like two different planets. Completely different planets. But I love your perspective on your ROI on focusing on your brand and niching down and taking the photos and putting yourself out there is you're going to make more money as an attorney, right?
Yes.
But I think a lot of people don't always look at it that way, especially those who maybe, like I did, went from big law where I didn't care about branding at all to starting
And
my
I
own firm.
hear that a lot, especially from associate attorneys. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. And then I had this conversation the other day with one who was let go suddenly. And she pulled me aside because we had a conversation at another networking event. And she's like, oh, I don't really need you. They send this like firm photographer. I'm like, that's fine. I'm like, but I've been preaching this, and she follows me online and on LinkedIn. And I was like, you are your own brand. And she got fired suddenly and was shocked and realized, oh my God, I need to scramble, find a new job. I am my own brand. I have to sell myself again. And she then called me, was like, okay, I need to like invest in headshots, because it's like the realization hits you. But that is something that happens when you're at big law, is you think it's maybe an afterthought when it really is, you are your own brand. We're in the era of 2026. Yeah. It's nothing like 2012 anymore.
This episode of Legal and Wealthy is brought to you by Law Firm Sites. Law Firm Sites has been building custom websites and providing online marketing for law firms for over 23 years. They are good at what they do because that's all that they do. If you are looking to expand the reach of your firm or just improve your online presence, Law Firm Sites has the team to do it. Go to lawfirmsites.com or call 1-800-932-8242 and mention Legal and Wealthy to receive 10% off any of their website or marketing packages. No, it's not. And from your perspective, since you're really kind of dialed into everything, what do you think in 2026, whether someone's in big law or at a boutique firm or starting their own firm or they have a successful firm, what should they really be thinking about when it comes to creating their own personal brand?
Okay. What should they be thinking about? Well, number one, and I know you and I have talked about this, is, manifestation, right?
Yes.
So creating your own brand and getting the headshots and putting your voice out there and putting yourself out there is about showing who you know you are and you want to be and manifesting those future opportunities. And when you have imagery that aligns with who you are and where you want to go, the right opportunities will come, the doors will open. It gives you a confidence boost. So I know
Yeah.
for me, when I do my headshot shoots, which I do them annually, and I look good and I feel good, and now I have marketing material that projects who I know I am, the direction I'm going in. Because oftentimes, I work from home, I'm a mom, I'm in my sweatpants, I don't have makeup on, and I feel a little schlumpy. So, but when you market yourself
Same.
and I feel really good and I'm putting that vision and that version of myself out there, that is when doors start to open.
Hmm. I love that, and I love that you brought in the confidence piece. What do you when someone kind of walk me through when someone walks into your studio, what are the things that they often say? Like, I don't feel confident, or maybe they don't feel
Hmm.
so good. What is it that experience in and of itself, before they even see the photos? Because if you haven't
Hmm.
seen Michelle's work, I mean, I especially love where you show kind of what they looked like walking in that day. And beautiful, beautiful, but no
Yes.
makeup, hair isn't done, versus the outfit and the hair and all of the things. What is it that you kind of hear repeatedly from women lawyers that you work with?
What is it that I hear repeatedly? So it's funny, I have two kinds of clients. I have one, well, I guess most of the clients, they see my work, right? So they're like, I know my friends, I know her, I've seen what you've done for her. This is incredible. And so they come in still nervous, but trusting
Mm.
the
Mhm.
process. So they come
Yeah.
in and, women attorneys, y'all are busy, and so many of you are moms and you're wearing many hats, and I'm sure you volunteer at so many organizations. And so photo shoot's kind of like on the back burner in the sense that, oh my God, I don't have time for this. So what I do, and I offer my services, and the proven system I have for my clients is that it's a one-stop shop, and we make sure we are doing it all for them. So they come in with trust, but oftentimes they come in nervous.
Mm.
And the number one thing I hear is, "Oh, I'm not photogenic. I can't take a good photo." And
Mm.
I have a saying that is like, when you try to take a photograph of the sunset, and you know how you look at it in the camera or on your phone and you're like, "Ugh, it just doesn't do it justice. Like, it looks so much better in person." So, like,
Yeah.
I would love it if women in law and women in general would think the same thing about themselves when they look at a bad photo of themselves, where
Mm.
it's not you, it's the lighting, or it's the photographer, or it's just your angles. So what happens with my clients and where they can relax is that we give them so much direction that there is a lot when it comes to in terms of lighting. Good light will fill your wrinkles. Good light will make you look younger. Bad light will
Yeah.
do the opposite. So if you can do
Yeah.
the right hair and makeup and the right light, and again, I want everybody to feel authentically like themselves and feel empowered and feel
Mm.
confident. And that starts with helping them pick out the wardrobe, helping them. And I have a
Yeah.
background in fashion design and fashion styling, and we can help piece it together. I have some clients come in that really don't have an understanding of style at all. That's a different conversation. But I have some clients come in and they've pieced together even color palettes that don't go. And I'm like, no, we're not going to wear a burgundy button up shirt with a periwinkle suit. Like, that is not happening on set today. Like, we're going to pull, and this is
Mm.
a true story. I was like, we're going to do a white simple cami with that periwinkle suit. And my client couldn't believe
Mm.
her eyes. And she's like, oh my God, I never would have put that together. So when we help them, we guide them step by step, because it is not your job to know what to do. And really, when you're looking for a photographer and you want that confidence, you have to see yourself in their work and know that they have a support system for you. And that's actually, there's a bit of a disconnect. Not many photographers offer what I do and have the background I have, and then have the team I have, the hair, the makeup team, the on-set art direction, the styling. I used to do fashion shoots. So we are clipping you in the back. Like, so a lot of times girls will come and things don't fit right. And I'll tell them, this needs to be tailored. It's a little too big on you. And they're like, really? I was like, yeah, actually it could be tailored and it looks a little nicer fitted in. And so the confidence happens on set, and then also where it's in terms of posing. So 9 times out of 10, this is what you ladies tell me, is that, oh, the last photographer I had that came to my firm and did my shoot he told me to, you just do you and be natural and just smile. And like, that's the worst thing you can do, because oftentimes photographers will get hung up on the tech. They'll be like, oh, well, I got the best lights in the business. I've got the best camera. And it's like, who cares about that? Like, a great photographer should be able to shoot with a toy camera, like a really beautiful picture with a toy camera. And it comes down to the lighting and the posing and the instruction. And I'm a woman and I'm a mom, and I know I want to look younger. I want to look photogenic, slimmer. We all want to look these things. We want to look like ourselves. So I never stop talking during the shoot, and I direct you on where your feet need to be, your hands, your hips, your expressions, how to get that natural smile. And truly, it's all an optical illusion, because posing's an optics thing. Anything further away from the camera appears smaller. Anything closer to the camera appears bigger. So we can slim you in real time by just pushing that booty back, push those hips back, push those arms back. So I think then once the clients see the pictures and they see them the same day, they realize, oh, this is not retouching. This is not AI. This is me. I did this. This is real. And they leave with, one, having a portfolio collection of imagery that now they can present themselves with confidence when that opportunity comes and they say, hey, I need a headshot. Hey, will you be today? You asked me that, hey, will you be on my blog, on my podcast? Yes. Okay. Send us your headshot. That's the first thing people ask for now.
Yeah.
Because you are your brand.
Yeah. It's so true. And I love that you walked us through that whole process, but especially kind of that end where they see the work and they see themselves almost in this different light, and it's still them, right? But it's how we see ourselves, how we see our work, how we look at ourselves professionally. If we're looking at ourselves from a view and a frame of, oh, I look really good, and oh, that's me, and there's no AI, that's just literally me. That's got to do something to our brain as women, as professionals, to see ourselves differently. And I would think that affects the decisions you make, how you be in this world. And so I love that you talked about that, because I do think a lot of photographers, they don't provide all of the steps that you provide, but they don't always provide that, like, okay, now look at yourself. Like, look at what, yes, I directed you, but that's you.
Yeah. And I'll have clients say to me, well, what do I do with all these pictures? Like, I came in for the one shot. I go, okay, are you, and then I ask questions. I say, are you on the board of any organizations? Do you volunteer? Do you have a podcast? And then they're like, oh yeah, I'm writing a book. I'm like, exactly. Like, your publisher is going to need to make a landing page, a whole website for this book. And you're going to need an Instagram for the book. And you don't just need the one picture anymore. So once the gears start turning, women realize, oh yeah, I do have these needs and I have all these opportunities showing up.
And I think that highlights something very important. And I know you touched on this at the Florida Association of Women Lawyers event that I watched you speak at a few weeks ago. Sometimes as women, we don't take up space. We don't put ourselves out there. We don't promote ourselves. And it's almost as if you're giving them a gift of, here, I give you permission. Put yourself out there, write that book, like whatever it is. And that's a really big gift that you're giving.
Well, and
these
staying
attorneys.
small and having, like, I say it's a cringe moment. Like, when somebody asks you for the headshot and for the images, if you cringe or recoil just with that question, that's a gap that needs to be filled. That's something that needs to be repaired, because you should say yes 100 times. Yes. Will you be on my podcast? Oh, I would love to. What an opportunity. And if it's this one piece of the puzzle that's missing, we can fix that. And a lot of times it's the confidence boost that an attorney needs to see herself in that light. And when they see themselves, this is where I was trying to go with that. It could be a lifetime or generational curse break.
Yeah.
I have met, oh, I'm getting chills. I've photographed hundreds and hundreds of women and attorneys through the years. I've been doing this almost, 20 years. And so many times the things they say about themselves are not true. They're like, oh, well, my big buck teeth. I go, this is a true story. I was like, what big buck teeth? I had another client say to me, well, my big fat earlobes. I was like, what big fat earlobes? Like, no one is looking at that. Nobody sees that. And then I sometimes will ask, well, who told you that? And they're like, well, my mother, my great aunt, my grandmother used to make fun of me for that. And, it is I'm getting chills again. Like, it's a generational, these stigmas and these things that are meant to keep us small, or maybe it was a joke that just stuck for your whole childhood and now you believe it as truth. And this one thing that is not true could be preventing you from being photographed. And if you want to be seen and have opportunities and be visible and to launch your brand and to get your law firm to the next level, you have to show up and you have to be seen and you have to make space for yourself and take up space. And you can't do that if you're letting one thing that one person told you 20 years ago stop you from being photographed, or at least seeing yourself as beautiful or strong or powerful.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting chills too. And, I think all of this translates to so many things, to branding, to confidence, to money, because we often have a very specific frame or viewpoint on the world because of things that happened in our past, because of things that our mother said, or ways that our family talked about, imagery, beauty, money, whatever, fill in the blank. It could be really anything. And I almost feel like stepping in front of the camera is like this metaphor for the rest of your life. And yes, it's a camera, it's a little different, but it really is like, how are you, we get this one life, right? We get this one life. You've chose this profession. It's a noble profession. How are you going to show up, in year 5, in year 20, in year whatever? Like, how are you going to show up? Who do you want to be? And you get to choose. You get to choose who you want to be. It doesn't have to be whatever was handed to you along the way. Yeah. And I think that the camera is kind of like a metaphor, and it really kind of forces you to dig deep into like, what limiting beliefs do you have? What lies are you telling yourself that you may not even realize you're telling yourself? We were doing an exercise yesterday. We had the Become a Wealthy Lawyer welcome party, and one of the lawyers said, we wrote 3 things, 3 journal prompts. And one of them was, what are you releasing to become the next version of yourself, the wealthier version of yourself? And she said, I wrote down fear. She was like, I didn't even realize I felt fear. Like until you gave us the prompt to actually like uncover what's going on in here. She's like, I didn't even realize that was something that I was using as a lens for the world.
Yeah. And it could be used as a tool. And that's the thing, is you mentioned it. It's not about vanity. It's a strategy. And the way we present ourselves to the world, as much as we don't want to admit it, it's a strategy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, the more that we admit that to ourselves and normalize it and say that's just the way that it is. And, law is a profession, but it's also a business. And it doesn't matter whether you have your own law firm, whether you're in big law, whether you're in government, you are a brand and it is a business, right? In one way, shape, or another. And the more that we recognize that and give ourselves permission to treat it as such, the more successful we will all be. And I think the more in alignment we will all be with ourselves.
Yes. Yeah.
And so going down that line, oh no, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and with all that, as women in law, one of the reasons I actually chose to niche down and focus on attorneys was because, again, like I look at myself and I look, okay, well, if I'm an artist and I want to have impact in this world, what's the greatest impact I can have? And it's like helping women that are making change, help them elevate. and help them,
Mm.
you know, grow and make more change. And it's like women in law, y'all are the ones changing the laws and making impact in the communities and helping people in their lives that are like and they could be generations deep,
Yeah.
family law and all that. And I was like, helping attorneys elevate is what I want to do, because these women have massive impacts in the world, our country, our communities. So,
Yeah. And I
yeah.
think that's why you and I have connected so well, because that's how I see it as well. And I think that as attorneys, as women in law, there's a lot of hangups that we have, and a lot of, on the flip side, a lot of change that we can make. And the more that we do elevate ourselves, the more that we begin to love ourselves again, the more that we are willing to the more that we're willing to be our authentic selves, and also not shy away from building wealth and making money
Hmm.
and stepping into whoever we are, the more change and the more impact
Yeah.
we can all make, right? Like I got chills again when you're
Yes.
like, really women lawyers. I mean, there's some great men out there too, but women lawyers are the ones who are like, okay, this is not working. Like, what are we going to
Yeah.
do to make this better? And this is like a total aside, but I'm joining the PTA at my son's school.
Of course you are.
And of course I am. And the first thing I said, because I'm going to help with fundraising, the first thing I said to my co-chair was, okay, so what's the rule, so we can find all of the loopholes to the rule, so we can bring in as much money for the school as possible. It's a public school. And she was like, that's so funny that you look at it that way. Like, what a lawyer thing to say. I'm like, but that's how the world works, right? You have to know what the
Hmm.
rule is, so then you can, for good, figure out the ways around that rule, And so the more that we do elevate ourselves professionally, financially, the more that we work together, the better, I think the world will be. Like, I don't know, maybe that
Exactly.
sounds dramatic, but that's how I feel. That's how I feel.
Exactly. And
Mm.
sorry, you were going to ask a question.
Well, it actually segues perfectly. So there was something that you said at that same presentation that really, really stuck with me. I took a picture of it, I shared it, and you were talking about how specialists in the law are perceived as more credible and can command 20 to 30% higher fees. 20 to
Hmm.
30%. That's
A
massive
lot.
than generalists. That's huge, especially when you compound that over a year, 5 years, 20 years. I mean, that's a significant difference. How do you think that branding kind of plays into niching and
Hmm.
becoming and being viewed as a specialist?
It comes down to you being in control of the public's perception of who you are and what services you offer.
Mm.
And it comes down to becoming the most memorable person. It essentially is just you are telling people what you want them to think about you. So, and the more you niche down, the more you can control the narrative, but then also help people remember what you do. Because, like photographers and lawyers, when you say I'm a lawyer, people have a preconceived notion of exactly what you do, and it's probably not
Yes.
right. So, if you can niche down and become known for this one thing to serve this one type of clientele, you will be the go to person for all the referrals and the specialists, where they're like, well, you got to go to so and so because she is the best at this one thing. And that's how we can command the higher prices. So with branding, it is about controlling the way that people perceive you. And why not take control of that narrative? It's you, it's your life, it's your business. And being able to be remembered for that thing where you are getting referrals easily and naturally, and you're not chasing, you are attracting the right clients to you.
Ooh, that's so good. So let's dive into that a little bit more. So one of the things that we talk a lot about on this podcast and in my community is, how can we step away from just trading time for money, right?
Hmm.
Whether it's the billable hour or however you're charging traditionally. And I think one of the reasons that lawyers don't build wealth as quickly as our counterparts is we get very stuck in that trap, trading time for money.
Hmm.
And when we stop working, the work stops coming in, the money stops coming in. But we all know that that's not how it has to be. But how do we
Hmm.
do that? How do you do that as a lawyer? And Michelle literally just handed it to you on a silver platter. You create a brand, you create a brand that is out there working in the community on your behalf, whether you're in the south of France or you're taking a nap or you're in a deposition, whatever it is that you're doing, your brand and the way that people perceive you and talk about you and remember you is such a massive wealth building tool. It's not
Hmm.
just pretty pictures. And yeah, I mean, I love photo shoots. I love pictures. Maybe that has to do with growing up in the household that I did. But it's not just that, right? That's a part of it and that's the fun part, but it's a wealth building tool. It's a money making strategy because it's your brand getting the money coming in the door, the clients, the referrals when you're not even doing a single thing. And that's the goal, right? I mean,
Hmm.
yes, we want to serve our clients. Yes, we want to make impact. We want to build great businesses and books of business. But we are only one person, right? We're
Yeah.
are only as good as ourselves and our team and our brand. And I think I've never really heard anyone talking about branding the way that you do. And I'm kind of literally right now having a big aha moment on how important branding is and how important it is to take control of that narrative.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and we're in the new era of attraction marketing. So I know I just mentioned that I just dropped that nugget of, oh, attract people to you. But
Mhm.
back in the olden days, which is not even that long ago, it was disruption marketing. So it's like, oh, you're watching a show and then, oh, a commercial pops on. Hey, you should buy these, this product. And nowadays, because we are so inundated by images and we need to stand out and we need to actually attract people to us. So instead of repelling people, and nobody wants to be sold to, but everybody needs our services, right? So
Yep.
how can we sell without being salesy or like a skeezy, used cars dealer? Is
Yeah.
we have to use attraction marketing. And how do we do that? We do that by promoting ourselves with our brand and what we share, our voice, our messaging, our image. I always say your face is your fortune. And you bring people to you, attract people to you. So yeah, while you're on vacation or sleeping and you have all this, you have your brand out there working for you, and make sure that everybody in your circle and in your community knows you are the go-to for this one thing, or for this one type of clientele or case. And then when they need you, you're going to be the one that they call, because they
Yeah.
see your stuff all the time and they know you and they can't not think of you when it comes to this one thing. Like for you, Lauren, it's legal and wealthy. It's like everybody talks about you in that scope. You've done a great job branding yourself there.
Hey, let's be honest. Are you a high functioning attorney or law student, but kind of low key exhausted, maybe successful on paper, but secretly wondering, is this it? That's exactly why I created the Wealthy Lawyer Reset. It is a 6-day reset for lawyers and law students who are done with burnout, chaos, money, energy, and just running on fumes. For 6 days, we reset your mindset, your money, and your nervous system because we cannot build true wealth and have great health if we are living in survival mode. It's just the fact of the matter. And because I am that kind of girl, we end with a virtual yoga session with the Aman Costigan. So you're not just wealthy on paper, you're regulated, grounded, and actually enjoying your life. This is not about hustling harder. It's about recalibrating everything so your wealth and your health can feel calm, aligned, and sustainable. If you're ready to enter your wealthy lawyer era without burnout, join me inside the Wealthy Lawyer Reset. 6 days, one reset, a completely different relationship with money, your health, and your success. Check out the show notes or go to my Instagram to learn more about the Wealthy Lawyer Reset. Thank you. Thank you. And I think you highlight something that it's a lesson I'm still learning. you have to constantly be top of mind, and you constantly have to remind people what it is that you do and what your brand is. And I still get uncomfortable. I'm like, I feel like I'm
Mhm.
saying the same thing over
You
and
have
over and
to.
over. But you have to, because think about it, we're all busy. I love when someone, like if there's a program or a course or someone that I want to work with, I love when they email me 20 times because it's that 20th time I'm like, oh, yes, I did want to buy that before the cart closes. Thank you so much for reminding me
Yep.
because maybe I saw it and then maybe my husband sent me a text or maybe a client sent me an email
Yep.
or the phone rang or I had to go take my new puppy out to go potty. And I'm like, I
You
completely
forget.
forget. You
Yeah.
forget because there's so much information out there. It is overwhelming.
And essentially, what you do is just share what you do, like how to brand yourself. You share what you do, who you help, and how to work with you. That's it.
Hmm.
You just
And
say,
then you
here,
do it
click
again
here. Yeah,
and
you do it again.
again.
You rinse and repeat. And you have to remember, first of all, the algorithm is not our friend anymore. No one, not even my grandma, right, is seeing my stuff. And I was like, why isn't grandma and my best friend seeing my things anymore? The algorithm is not our friend. Share what you do again and again. Pretend nobody knows. Pretend you're talking to a
Mhm.
5-year-old kid for what you do and who you serve. And then you say how to work with you. It's that simple. It doesn't have to be that skeezy. And for me, every time I post, I have the thought that I'm like, I am sharing what, I'm sharing instead of being skeezy, like I have to change my mindset where it's like, I'm
Mhm.
sharing what needs to be said and the right person's going to find it. And this is the solution that this client or this woman needs. And I am going to help her. And, so you change your mindset instead of just being like, oh, I'm selling, selling, selling. You're like, no, I'm actually providing this amazing service that has the solution to this one problem that somebody really has, and I am going to be able to help her, and she just needs to know I'm out there.
It's the energetics, right? It's
Mhm.
when you're doing that thing, you're sending that email, you're making that post, you're whatever it is you're doing, you're giving a presentation for fall. It's the energy with by which you do it. What is the energy you're bringing? Because and it sounds woo woo, and I guess it kind of is, but people pick up on that, right? Like
Mhm.
whether it's in person or through through the universe, like people pick up on your energy. And so it's so important. I totally agree. And like just keep practicing, That's something that
Mhm.
when I started my business, I was working with started Flourish Law Group, I was working with a coach, a business coach, and she's like, you're gonna sound really silly and you're gonna feel really silly, but go into it with the right energy and just keep going because you're
Yeah.
gonna get better. You're gonna get
Yeah.
better. And no one is judging you nearly as much as you are judging yourself.
100%. And everybody's not really paying attention. So you
Mm-mm.
just keep posting and get out there and be perfectly imperfect because in the world of AI, how are we going to stand out? It's going to be with spelling errors and videos without makeup on, and it's going to be showing up and being real and authentic, and wow, you're a real person. People are going to immediately trust you more.
Mm, that's so true. Oh my gosh, this was so good. So, so good. So, I know I need to book my photos the next time you're in town. For everyone who's
Yay.
listening, and I'll probably some of them already have photos because I'm like, I'm when I tell you like all of my friends are working with you, it's like I'm hearing your name from every which way. So your branding is working.
Yay.
Your branding is working well, and your photos speak for themselves. I mean, the magazines that you give out at events, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So where can everyone find you? How can they work with you? When are you going to be, because this is a international, national podcast, but
Mhm.
where do they need to be? How do they find you? All of the things.
Yes. Well, right now I have 2 studio locations, and they're easy to get to if you jump on a plane. Uh, then we have Charlotte, North Carolina, and then the South Florida, Fort Lauderdale studio, Miami, Fort Lauderdale studio. And I offer sessions in South Florida semi-annually, both spring and fall. And then the home base studio is in Charlotte. And you can definitely find me on LinkedIn. I also do LinkedIn Lives talking all about branding and marketing. And of course, I'm on Instagram. And I also have I'm trying to think what else I have and how you can connect with me. It's an ebook. It's all about attraction marketing. I know I lightly touched on that, but it's specifically written. It's for attorneys and how to use attraction marketing to bring in your ideal clients and to charge higher rates and to make more money in law. Yeah.
Yeah. which is what we're all about here. It's really, really great. We'll put that in the show notes. Everyone go follow Michelle, book your photo
Thank
shoot.
you.
Thank you so much for being here. And we have your masterclass coming up in the Legal and Wealthy community too. So Michelle, you are in our legal and wealthy world, and we could not be happier to have you here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate being here. This is great.
No, I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you next time you're here in South Florida, my friend. Have a great summer. Thank you for being here, and thank you to everyone for listening to this episode of Legal and Wealthy. Thanks for tuning in to Legal and Wealthy. If today's episode sparked something in you, take it one step further. Share it, leave a review, or come connect with me inside the Legal and Wealthy community. Remember, wealth isn't just about the numbers. It's about how you lead, how you live, and how you build beyond the billable. You already have what it takes to create real freedom and wealth. I'm just here to help you claim it.